should be run. I'm sorry.
It's very unprofessional.
Very unprofessional. I know there's bad feelings,
There
perhaps.
shouldn't be any bad feelings.
There shouldn't
We
be,
feel
because we've
attacked,
worked
Margaret.
hard to help.
And if we're under attack, we try and justify...
You're not under attack, Brenda.
Well, we
We-
start from a
we're
certain
trying to
point
get
who I'm looking
information.
directly at.
No,
Right.
we're trying, please, let me
Just a second. You can finish in
Can
a
I-
sec. Honestly, promise you.
No, never mind.
Can we?
I was halfway through a conversation.
Well,
but
I'm
it doesn't
sorry, but
matter.
this is getting
No.
this is not getting us anywhere. It's
I was trying to help
All
explain.
right, I
No,
apologise, Margaret.
no.
You carry on. Sorry, I
We
thought you
have
were going to say
worked
something.
really, really
further.
hard to get information for the village and for the parish council. We are not fighting against you. We're working with you.
Well, that's what we wanted, but that
But-
didn't seem to be the case.
Well, we've got to stop this here and now, or we're going to get nowhere. We've got to work together, right? So no arguments about who plagiarised this and who didn't spell names right. Let's stick with the important facts. We've got a consortium that got to ruin our village unless we do something about it.
Well said.
Well, Margaret, yes.
Can I just ask, I believe there was a suggested meeting with your group down at South
Brenda, we haven't formed an official group as of yet. We
I
are
thought you
just
had.
gathering as much information as we can to pass on to the appropriate people. We have uncovered about the contaminated land. That's took us a lot of digging.
Well, not literally.
Very serious issue. If that land is cracked and that starts to seep, we don't want children in 10, 15 years' time to suddenly become very ill. We are now fighting for the future generation of Easton, and we need to do it together.
Yes.
Thank you, Margaret.
And we're not yet formed as a group.
Oh.
We are open to as many people who want to help us as possible.
So was there a suggestion that you were invited to South Norfolk and that didn't come off or something? That you were going to have, and it would be shared by people in South Norfolk?
They didn't want to... Brenda, when we invited them to come here and have a meeting, they snubbed us. They now want to meet with the action group. We're not an action group as yet. We're just a group of people that are desperately trying to get information. They can wait till we're ready now. They didn't want a bar of us before, did they?
I don't know.
Well, you know that they were invited here and they didn't turn up.
Who was
The
invited?
consortium members, representatives from the consortium refused. Well, they didn't refuse.
I
They
didn't
just said
say
they
we
weren't
aren't
there.
invited them, did we, John?
Yeah.
No, we didn't. We didn't invite them.
You didn't invite them.
No.
We asked for them to be invited.
I thought you'd invite them.
Yeah, you said at a meeting.
You said at the meeting that they...
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, yeah.
No, I thought they were talking about
You didn't invite the consortium to it?
The last one.
I know a lot of people didn't come. Including the
I thought you
MP
were
and...
talking about a meeting last few
No,
days.
no, I thought you meant...
I thought for a
Yes,
minute.
you had. Well, my mistake. Margaret.
Can I just clarify something?
Yes.
South Norfolk, and officers at South Norfolk, because they saw there was a problem, said the developers had been in touch with them and they were willing to have a meeting with the objectors, and could I offer a meeting to the objectors? And I did, and the people who were objecting at that time said no, they didn't want a meeting with the developers. And by the time, well, before I responded back to the officer, because I didn't know that I wasn't expecting to do it the next day, it was the following week. But before I'd done that, there was something in the paper from the developers with Chris Nick's name mentioning
that's where
a
I picked it
meeting.
from.
So they had assumed, obviously they told we want a meeting, they told the officers we'll have a meeting with them, and then they put something in the paper assuming that it would go ahead when it didn't. But I gave the information, it was refused. Before I got back to say no,
I see.
they're not interested, something had been put in the paper.
Yeah.
Chris Nix wrote a letter to the paper.
Oh, I don't know about that. I
Expecting-
just saw an article.
But they turned it into an article instead.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they twisted his
Yeah.
words.
And I didn't know until someone
I don't know
told me.
about that, but it
Well,
was,
anyway.
it was a letter in the paper and it wasn't. It was an
Yeah.
article.
But the objectors are not just a small group of people, it's the whole village. They need to be coming to a meeting with all the villagers, not just a small group.
Everybody in this hall.
Then use a bigger venue.
You suggest the college?
Well, why not? Why not? That's where we did the food hub one,
Well, I know, but then that was...
and they fitted 200 odd in
Yeah,
there.
They couldn't get in there either.
They did only expect about 25.
Yes.
They got the fright and they left.
Well, do you want...
I was just going to say that at the moment, yes, people are referring to Easton Against Development, or EAD. That's not a formalised group, as has already been mentioned. So that's 8 or 10 people with ideas, banding around, and then obviously pinging information to you guys, or to SNC, or to Margaret. And as Margaret said, she did actually say to us at the consortium we've been in touch about meeting, but at the end of the day, plans as proposed are a no, I think, as far as the majority of the village are concerned. So, you know, that was what we said initially, no, we don't want to meet them. Yes, they failed to perhaps come to the EGN, didn't help themselves, but you know, maybe at a later date there will be discussions about formalising an action group to work with the Parish Council and to work with Margaret and SNC, or whoever the case may be, the Highland Authority, NCC, you know, to actually, you know, snowball the campaign, if you like, even more.
Don't you think that in order to give credence to the arguments, that you do form an action group, that it does look as if it's a group that has become a formal structure, so that you can actually approach them with some sort of authority, really?
I thought you had already formed an action
Well,
group.
according to Dennis's
Against
email,
Development,
he has, because it says here, and I quote, this is Dennis's email, that as you've just volunteered, you sent out to hundreds of people. Thank you
I didn't
so
say
much
100
for
people.
showing your support at the recent Parish Council meetings and for agreeing to join Easton Against Development campaign. We aim to keep you up to date without bombarding you with information on all the steps we are taking. The EAD team are working very hard, spending every possible free moment fighting for our village. The number of huge documents, research and meetings we are having to work through in this short time is unbelievable. If you see us, please excuse the huge bags under our eyes. Actually, that was lifted straight out of a letter from EAD to the villagers.
No, I believe it was a letter from you, and it was meant as a compliment.
But
Right.
you
It
can't
was
claim
the-
to be EAD and then use it against us.
So, I'm sorry, we have to move on now. We've
I
gone...
suggest we move on, Chair.
Yeah, we've gone
Yeah, we
about
need to
40 minutes.
Brendan, just in response to what Linda said about credence for
Yeah,
an action group
I just
together.
thought, moving
I
forward,
thought
this
you
is
had
the...
formed one because it just appeared that
Not, yeah,
there was
not,
all
not,
this
not a.
stuff coming at us and
not a-
the
not a-
EAD title
There's
thing.
no official chair, vice chair, etc., etc. But I take it what Linda was saying, and there has been discussed about, you know, formulating a official EAD group, we'll call it EAD for now, to stand us in good stead in the longer term. It's going to run for years. It's
Well,
not just
yeah.
6 months.
Because
know.
you've got to take into consideration the food hub as well coming there. So that if you're an action group that starts now to deal with this, then it can just move on. And as far as I can see, looking at other other movements that have been objected, that's what they did. They formed what would look like an official. Because if you're dealing with officials and people who have their own little groups, then they really need to think that they've got a responsible.
And I think we need, obviously, your support. You need our probably intelligence and investigation work. We need Margaret as well. And again, that's a bigger group of people, all with fingers in different pies, can, you know, together again, you know, make a difference. I think was our phrase we were using on the emails.
We're all on the same piece of rope. Let's just all pull in the same direction.
So can we now move on to Parish Council business? Thank you for coming, and if you want to listen to the rest of the Parish Council, you can. Otherwise, I will understand if you depart. Now, where have we got to, John? Land issues.